The Muppet movie was released in 1979 and it delighted children and family audiences alike with its funny dialogue and upbeat songs. As the years went by, the movie became a classic. It was then that rumors began to surface about a darker alternative ending to this film that only the cast and crew have seen. One day, a former employee of the Muppets, now long retired, decided to take it upon himself to uncover the truth about the alternative ending. After much scouring of the old documents and speaking with the former cast and crew, he had collected the necessary resources and obtained a copy of a secretly made bootleg copy of the alternative ending to the Muppet movie. He sat with bated breath as he watched the lost, previously unseen footage. Its contents revealed that were dark and disturbing, in which the Muppets had been corrupted by their own success, and their friendships had been lost to greed. The alternative ending ended so badly, it was hard to believe that Jim Henson had ever approved of it. The man I could think of the only plausible explanation as for why the alternative ending had been cut. It was far too dark for a family-friendly movie. He still had no answers to why it had been cut from the finished project. But the one thing for sure, the alternative ending that had watched could only never be shown to the general public due to its contents. The man never watched a bootleg copy again, instead chose to keep it well-guarded secret. Even today, the lost alternative ending of the Muppet movie remains a mystery. It was a hot summer in a night in a small town, and Maureen, a single mother of 3 children, was trying to entertain them. After scrolling through YouTube for a while, she stumbled upon The Great Muppet Caper, a movie that she had seen as when she was a child. She thought it would be a nice throwback for the family and clicked play. The film started off with the usual hijinks of the Muppets, but as it progressed, Maureen started to notice something odd about the movie. After Fozzie Bear got arrested and taken away, a previously unseen scene was added. It was a dark and twisted scene in which Miss Piggy was being sentenced to life in prison for her actions. After being subjected to the harsh punishments of the prison guards and inmates, Miss Piggy's life was brought into a gruesome, and at the end, she was beaten to death. Maureen was shocked at what she had just seen, and even more astonished that such a great scene had been included in a children's movie. She quickly shut off the movie and thought about what she had seen. The next day, Maureen went back to YouTube to search for the movie again. She noticed that the scene that she had watched the night before was now gone. To her disbelief, it had just vanished from existence, as if it never to be seen again. Maureen wondered if what she had seen was real or just a part of her imagination. Either way, the lost movie creepypasta about the dark and twisted scene in The Great Muppet Caper is something she will remember for a very long time. There was a lost and the movie that was forgotten, but remembered in the family. The movie was named Muppet Treasure Island. It starred Tim Curry as the villainous pirate John Silver. This was no ordinary movie. It was a film that got vastly different from the one you saw in the theaters. This was a lost movie, a creepypasta, from many years ago that only a few were lucky enough to know about it. This movie featured a darker tone than the light-hearted children's movie that was released to theaters. There was an underlying presence of terror and danger that followed the characters as they traveled first through Treasure Island. At the end of the movie, Tim Curry's character John Silver met a gruesome end. He was hung from the tree and began to slowly strangle to death in a particularly unsettling scene. The directors had to cut that scene at the last minute, as it was far too gruesome and disturbing for a movie meant for children. This movie was never seen in theaters, and it has disappeared into the realms of the lost movie, never to be seen again. All that was left of this haunting memories of the movie that seemed to be deemed too dark for its time. The story of Muppet's Wizard of Oz is one that is rarely told and is rarely discussed, even by those who have seen it. Kate, a college student, never expected to stumble upon the movie, but when she did, it changed her life. It started with this simple research online. She was exploring for a used DVD store when she found the title Muppet's Wizard of Oz, buried in one of the old movie boxes. It looked battered in age and faded with the cover design, but she was curious, so she decided to get it. The movie was dark and sinister with a gloomy atmosphere. Characters from The Wizard of Oz were imagined with the Muppets as different personalities, needs, and characteristics. Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Man were enhanced by a mysterious figure. It was the Witch of the West. To go on the quest to find the Wizard of Oz, the goal that they were told was to collect three elements, a heart, a brain, and courage, and bring them to the wizard in order to obtain a magical emerald that would grant a barrier wish. But things didn't go as planned. Along the way, the Witch of the West revealed her true identity. She was the real Wizard of Oz. She offered them the emerald, but only on one condition, that they give up their hearts, brains, and courage. Dorothy was the only one to refuse to accept the terms. But the others, desperate for the power, they believed in the emerald so it could grant them, agreed. The Wicked Witch of the West then used her magic to transform the free Muppet characters into real humans, taking away their essential Muppet identities and memories. With Dorothy as the last one standing, she was forced to make a decision: accept the witch's offer and give up her own identity, or devise a plan to save the other characters. Dorothy chose the latter option. With the help of the Muppets and the trusty friend Toto, she came up with a plan to reanimate the free characters, restoring them to their original forms and memories. She used a magical object to break the curse, and the Muppets were transformed back into their original selves. In the end, the witch was defeated and the emerald was returned to its rightful place. The Muppets Wizard of Oz reunited all the friends, and they all celebrated with joyous songs and dances. But as the credits started to roll, Kate noticed something different. There was an alternative ending, which showed the Muppets taking off in a hot air balloon, heading for a new life together in the land of Oz. This was a strange ending, one that left many unanswered questions, but it was beautiful nonetheless. Kate has never told the story of the Muppets Wizard of Oz, the alternative ending being reserved for her own private indulgence. But for now, she feels that the time she has finally come to share it with the world. Though not many knew of the movie's existence, it will always hold a special place in Kate's heart, her own secret treasure from a forgotten world that was dark and disturbing. Jake was a hard-working production assistant on the set of The Muppets Beauty and the Beast, an interpretation of the classic Disney movie with star-studded cast: Miss Piggy as Belle, Ralph the dog as the Beast, and Kermit the Frog as the Prince. The crew had been working tirelessly on the movie, but despite their progressing well, always seemed to be behind schedule, postponing the release date. Jake had no idea what's causing all the delays and disruption. He wasn't very privy on the meetings between the director and the writers, but he had heard talks of tension between the cast and crew members, but nothing ever concrete. One day, however, Jake had noticed a strange atmosphere on the set, and when the director announced the movie's final scene being postponed indefinitely, everyone became unnaturally silent. After inquiring, no one could tell him anything. Suspicious, Jake started to look for the possibility of a cover-up of something sinister. He asked people around the set, and he started to piece together of a timeline of the events who had access to these certain areas. After days of deducing, Jake put it together in the accurate theory. Someone had tampered with the film and tampered with the final scene. The film was never released, and all of the footage has disappeared as well. No one remembered making it, and no one knew what really happened. Jake was determined to go and get to the bottom of this case, and he worked all day and night, researching and snooping around town trying to find a lead. After weeks, Jake had stumbled across a clue. Someone had been stalking the set and had managed to break into the editing room and mess up the film. After a difficult investigation, Jake unraveled the culprit, who was none other than the film's arch-enemy, a powerful Hollywood producer who has sought to sabotage the film and prevent its success. He even managed to erase all evidence, but Jake was able to reveal the truth behind the lost movie, so that the world would remember that magic that had almost been created.